Oh, you. Oh, well. That's not too good. Oh.
Used to want people to love
They
me.
lie to you on the
I
manual.
learned how to sing. Then I thought I wanted money so I could buy a nice thing. When I found it was as empty as could be, and now I'm staring at my face above a bathroom sink, saying I want peace. It's where I am now.
Hello, family friends. Thanks so much for tuning in. Amber from Family Life, and this week we walk you through some of our process on packing up the wood. We started using wood as a fuel source about 2 winters ago. The first couple of winters that we were here, we strictly used propane, and it got a little expensive. So we were kind of trying to figure out if we could kind of try to supplement the cost a little bit. So we started burning wood a couple of years ago, and we had an abundance of ash, which we had no idea what to do with. So since then, we've discovered some uses for it, and I'd like to share those. So if you hang tight, through the end of the video, I'm going to share some of the uses that we use and some other uses that we have not had to use yet, thank goodness. So there's a couple of things there. So stay tuned, and we'll share some of those uses for ash later in the video.
You could have come like a forest fire with the power of heaven in your
Sure, he won't mind loaning it to you so long as you're keeping yourself safe.
winter snow. Quiet, soft and slow. Falling from the sky in the night to the earth below. Oh, you could have stopped ocean to ravage our hearts. You could have come through like a roaring flood to wipe away the things that we've scarred. Oh, but it came like winter snow.
Are you out of fuel?
Fuel. Turn off. I guess.
You ran her hard.
Oh, here.
Do you have a heater in there?
Yeah.
It makes it warm.
No.
Hopefully you're getting the easy job and giving Daddy the hard job.
All right. Let's fill this bad boy up. Crazy. You have to use my big belly to prop up the tank.
You're leaking, and now I know why you always smell like gasoline.
I don't want to leak.
Oh.
There's a little tiny tear in my seal. Oh, you. Oh, well. That's not too good. Oh.
You're a train wreck. It's all over you and all over your tractor. You want me to get a bucket or get a rag?
I'll get one. Diesel is so messy because there's so much oil in it. It just makes for a very, it then never evaporates, like ever. Gasoline, at least it evaporates. You spill it on something, 3 minutes later it's gone. Diesel, 4 years later and it's still, you're like, what's this smell? It's diesel.
Do they make tractors a gasoline tractor, so they all diesel?
No, according to the government, they're going all electric. But they're all diesel right now. Big tractors.
Oh, the baby girl. Cold.
Cold. She's got 3 fur jackets on.
In here?
See the rip I got there? That's my little tiny rip. And that little tiny thing there is what leaks. A little tiny tear in my little tiny...
Surely to goodness you've got another one of those kicking around.
You would think. But I can't find one. So, when you have your unit run out of fuel on you, these new units have a really, really good fuel pump. And in the manual, it tells you that if you ever run your unit out of fuel, you have to do 3 things. There's the pump itself. So what you do is make sure you're in neutral, you turn your key on, and you'll hear the pump. And the pump is priming your unit. So you do that for about 15 seconds. And then you turn it off. And you wait 15 seconds. And what's happening is the pump is now back pressuring and letting all the air out. So you wait for 15 seconds. And then you turn it back on for 15 seconds. You're building up pressure again. That's the second of 3 things. And then turn it off. Let it sit for 10-15 seconds. And then, when you've done that twice, after 10 seconds, it should start right up. Now it may stall, because it is going to have a little bit of residual air in there, but that's the idea. So now I should be able to turn it on, let it prime. Look at that. Oh, it stalled. So now turn it off. Let it prime. It's cold. He's fine. And then turn it off. My video is a failure. Okay, listen, the manual was wrong. Don't listen to them. It's all lies. They lie to you on the manual.
Don't run out of fuel.
Oh, I got to. Oh, that's why. I didn't know I didn't pull it down. It was already on rev. So when it was revved up, that means that the system was already looking for too much fuel, so I burned it out. I didn't pull that down. Okay, so my manual was right. Make sure your idle is at the very lowest, and then you can do that, and then it runs well.
Falling from the sky in the night to the earth below. Ooh, no, your voice wasn't in the bush burning.
Well, we got to do this last load and then we're done. So yeah. You're not prepared for the job then.
I took all my stuff off.
That's one way to come to work, unprepared.
Now that I have it back here, I'm going to start a new load.
Back to the van.
Well, I've got actually all my weight's on the back right now, but I re-supported the back. I just didn't support the front. Can't believe I didn't do this before.
What? He used to hand bomb it.
I used to hand bomb every freaking stick. Like a dumb arse. Now I realized I got the dump trailer and I got the
Then
gator.
you got your son that says work smart, not hard, fool.
Who's my son?
Lucas. What they say, always hire.
Luke. Is Luke here?
Always hire a lazy man to do a hard job because he'll find an easy way to do it.
Yep. Yes. So So anyways, I'm gonna just start it on here because I don't want to get myself in trouble with this stack. Oh, that one's a crazy ass one there. Okay, this is Frank from Family Life. Keep on keeping on. Stack your wood before the snow comes. Don't do what I do. Stack it first before the rain and the snow comes, but it's okay, I'm still good. In the wintertime, your chickens still need to have their baths. They need to, because normally they do a dust bath in the dirt, or you put together some stuff for them the dust bath to get the parasites and the mites and stuff off them, because you don't want them getting worms. So what I read was you put in ash.
She did it again.
From your fireplace.
What is that? Is that just a big long piece of...
It is, it's a long piece of grass.
And she got it stuck again.
But anyways, that's what I'm gonna do. And from what I read, actually, the smell from the ashes, the parasites don't like it. So they won't even attach to them. So this is a good thing. So I'm gonna dump it in, and they're gonna bathe in it. They like it. They get right in there and bathe with it.
This is their bubble bath.
This is their bubble bath. You bring that out once a week, and you let them bathe. I'm putting our heated water bucket out because their buckets were freezing. So we got a heated water bucket plugged in. It keeps the water nice and fresh for them. We just put a new bucket in every morning, and then they're happy.
Got two girls in there laying up. Good girls. They seem to be happy and warm. I've got about probably eight to 10 uses for ash. Really interesting things. Some of them I didn't really even realize was a possibility, but I've learned so much. Again, it's one of those things, learning new things here in the homestead, living in the country, things that we just never had to explore, or even research, or even know how they worked. So the most important thing that I used the ash for this year was for the gardens and for our chickens. So gardens, they is really good for repelling slugs and snails. They do not like the scent, and they will just kind of be it kind of use it as a bit of a deterrent. It's also really good to amend your soil. So if you're having issues with the pH balance, wood ash is extremely alkaline, and it helps to neutralize some of the acid. And so it also contains some calcium, some potassium, some phosphorus. There's also trace elements. So it really helps to boost your garden soil. It's really great to put in your compost pile as well. So those are a couple of uses. The chickens love it. At some point in this video, we took a video the last time Eli helped me clean out the fireplace here. And we took the ash down to the girls. But we put it in a metal bucket and leave it there for at least a week so that we know there's no continuous embers burning, so that obviously we don't want it to burn our girls. So we put it in their dust bath bucket, and they absolutely love it. So it helps to keep the mites and things off of them, and it helps to keep them, also helps them keep a little bit warm. The mites and the bugs do not like the scent, so they kind of stay away, and we don't want mites because it causes worms and all sorts of problems. So that's one of the big things that we've used it for. It's also used, as we used it last year, as an ice melt around the immediate house. And because there is a bit of a, with the potassium and stuff in it, there is a bit of a salt component, and it helps to melt ice, but mix it with the water and the snow, and it becomes gunky. So it tracked into the house and made it messy. So while it did its job in melting the ice, it also made it tracked it into the home. So I likely won't be using it again. We got ice, different ice melt for this year. So wood trees, hardwood trees love wood ash. If you sprinkle it around, sorry, I gotta let my girl in. She's crying. She wants to be in because she's sucky. What do you need? It's so nice outside. Why do you have to come in? I'm trying to talk to our friends. You don't need to be in here. Anyway, so yeah, apple trees, things like that, they love the wood ash. So if you sprinkle it around the root or around the base of the tree and then just water it in, it kind of gets into the root system, and that helps to replenish some of the fruits. Also, or it helps with the fruit. Also, one of the big things that I wasn't even aware that ash did was for polishing and stain removing. Well, actually, that's not true. Sorry, we used it for polishing, but stain removing and things like that, you would think like the ash and stuff like that, it would add a stain. But what it more so is, it kind of expels oils, and it takes any sort of stains on the driveway from oil, leftover diesel, which Frank spilled some, but we have a gravel driveway. So, but if he had spilt that on the regular the driveway, on an asphalt driveway, he could have put some of that ash and it would have absorbed some of those oils. This glass insert gets a little sooty, and it kind of can sometimes get a little black. So we will literally take some newspaper and wet the newspaper and dip it in the excess ash and wipe the glass off, and it comes clean like perfect. So that's a little trick too. So great for a glass cleaner. Abrasive for the frying pans. If you burn things onto a frying pan, it comes off. Also too, like, it helps with some silver, like you can polish silver with it. It's an odor absorber, similar to that of like I guess like a baking soda. It will take and expel, you know how you put baking soda in your fridge and it kind of pulls out any sort of funky odors. Ash will do the same thing in kitty litter boxes, and also too, if you make a paste similar to the glass cleaner, and if your dog gets into a skunk, it helps to pull some of that odor out of the dog's fur. So thankfully we haven't had to try that one, so that's not tried and tested, but that's kind of, my research suggested that helps with some skunk smell. Also to the ponds. So we have here on our property 5 ponds, and in researching, we had a massive algae bloom a couple of years ago, and in researching how to handle that, it was suggested to throw some wood ash into the ponds. While it may not actually kill the algae bloom itself or the excess algae, what it will do is it will help to revigorate the growth of the other plants, keeping the pond healthier and therefore combating the algae growth. So it seemed to work. So we will continue to throw some of that into the ponds every spring. Also too, it's really good for your lawns. If you make like a compost tea out of it, like about 5 pounds of it in a permeable mesh bag, and then submerge that into a bucket of water for about 4 days or so. It'll kind of create this tea, and you can literally water grasses for like wherever the grass is kind of, maybe areas where the dogs have stained or killed the grass and that kind of stuff. It helps to revigorate their root bed. So that we haven't tried yet, so I'm not exactly sure if that actually is a tried and tested method, but it's supposed to help, which it would make sense because it's so good for the soils and such. And another thing too that I researched is good for is anthills. So because, again, they don't like the smell, you sprinkle a little bit of wood ash on aggressive anthills, and they will kind of take their colonies elsewhere. So that's kind of a few little uses that we like to use ash for around here. What we do and when we clean out the fireplace is, like I said, put it in a tin bucket, and we do have a tin drum outside in the event that we like to kind of keep it for the garden. But the girls, the hens, are really using it up each week. So I'm hoping we may have to kind of try to rally some up and get some from other people. Burning wood as a heat source can be a little messy. That is the one, probably the negative that I would say. Because it just does, and sometimes if you don't have your dampers open and things like that, it can get a little bit too hot in this space, because when we moved here, we don't have an upstairs, so heat rises, of course, and so it gets a little bit really hot in this little space that we have, and the bedrooms were extremely cold. So what we ended up finding ourselves having to do was take our primary thermostat and install it in the basement, so that if it got cold, the furnace would kick on, because it was never kicking on here because this space was always kept so warm. It is a drier heat, so we do find that we have to use a humidifier because it does pull out a lot of moisture out of the room. The first year the skin was, we didn't realize that the skin was suffering, and the floors were starting to pull apart a little bit, so we had to kind of figure out what was going on. But those are those are some of the things that we learned. Okay, I hope you guys found that helpful and useful. So until next time, guys, stay safe and keep living. I'm gonna let Frank continue with his sign off earlier, which was hysterical, and I had to edit it in. So anyways, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Have a nice week. Off to work now.
Bye. This is Frank from Family Life signing off. Stay safe, keep living, and your best.
Okay, one more time.
Frank from Family Life signing off for another day on the chicken farm. Stay safe and keep living.
There are other places, there are other places.